Now that we've all seen the newest episode of House of the Dragon, I want to have a look ahead at what is arguably the main event of the season. The episode we have all been waiting for is finally here. We're about to see why this moment in Westerosi history is remembered as the Dance of the Dragons. After it's all said and done, thousands of men and over a dozen dragons will have died. We're about to witness some of the most horrific moments in all of A Song of Ice and Fire. Unfortunately, we were not able to see the first official battle when House Blackwood fell on House Bracken. In the fight that followed, the mill was set on fire and men fought and died for hours in the red light of the flames. Now, the show would have us believe these houses have hated each other for hundreds of years. However, there are some historians who believe they have been enemies for over 1,000 years. As we saw in the first season of House of the Dragon, the Blackwoods and the Brackens are always looking for any reason to fight each other. If we look at Fire and Blood, it says after House Bracken was defeated, the last of Aegon's alliances in the Riverlands lost heart and laid down their own swords as well. All across the realm, lords will be calling their banners and armies will begin to gather and march across Westeros. Now, we haven't seen his reaction yet, but it was said that Aegon was shocked when he heard of Harrenhal falling into the hands of Daemon. Until that moment, Aegon had believed Rhaenyra was hopeless. Daemon's victory at Harrenhal left him feeling vulnerable for the first time, and the defeats at the Burning Mill and Stone Hedge came as further blows, making Aegon realize that his situation was much worse than it initially seemed. Not only has Aegon already lost the Vale, White Harbor, and Winterfell, but the Blackwoods and other river lords should be making their way for Daemon's banners at Harrenhal very soon. Aegon initially wanted to leave the city along with Ser Criston and his other men. However, he stayed behind after Ser Larys suggested otherwise. Aegon might be sitting back at King's Landing right now, but we already know he doesn't want to be seen as a weak man. He's already lost some of his footing now that Daemon has won an early victory at Harrenhal. Soon he will start to feel that if he wants the job done right, he will have to do it himself. Once again, Aegon's emotions will get the better of him, and he will mount his dragon Sunfire, leave the city, and join his men in the field. We are about to see an even angrier Aegon, not only because he's suffering losses, but also because his mother might reveal what Viserys said. This will undoubtedly make Aegon realize his father never actually wanted him to be king after all. Unfortunately, Rhaenyra wasn't able to avoid the Dance of the Dragons before it officially started. You see, Alicent believed Viserys wanted their son Aegon to follow him on the Iron Throne after she heard him say that name during his last moments. After secretly meeting Rhaenyra in the Sept, Lady Alicent finally realized what Viserys might have meant when he said Aegon's name last season. Viserys was only letting Alicent know about Aegon's dream of a Song of Ice and Fire, and how he thought it would be Rhaenyra who would rally Westeros against the darkness from out beyond the Wall. Alicent thought he was referring to their son Aegon because that's what she wanted to hear. Well, now Alicent knows what he really said, but she still doesn't think it will matter because of everything that's already happened. And I actually think Alicent's right about this. Aegon fully believes he deserves the Iron Throne. He will never bend the knee for Rhaenyra. It doesn't matter if Alicent says she misheard or misunderstood Viserys. I think Aegon would rather die than see Rhaenyra sit the throne. Now it looks like they will be adapting some more of Fire and Blood in the next episode. In the novel, it says, with 100 knights and 500 men-at-arms, augmented by 3 times as many hardened sellswords, Ser Criston marched on Rosby and Stokeworth. Ser Criston will demand they show their allegiance to Aegon by adding their numbers to his own. After that happens, he will march all of his men onto the walled harbor of Duskendale, where they will take them by surprise. They will sack Duskendale, set the ships on fire in the harbor, and behead Lord Darklyn. We've already seen evidence of this in the official photos and videos. Lord Darklyn's household knights had to either swear their swords to Aegon or suffer the same fate as their lord. Most of them will swear fealty to Aegon. Afterwards, Sir Criston and his men would set their sights on Rook's Rest. Now you see, Lord Staunton knew this would happen. In the last episode, he asked Rhaenyra if he could leave Dragonstone so he could fortify Rook's Rest. Well, in Fire and Blood, Lord Staunton also knew they were on their way, so he shut his gates and defied the attackers. Now, behind his walls, the only thing he could do was watch as his fields and woods and villages were burned and his sheep and cattle and small folk were put to the sword. After he started to run low on food, he sent a raven to Dragonstone asking for help. In Fire and Blood, the raven arrived at Dragonstone as Rhaenyra and her blacks were mourning the loss of Sir Harwin. Although the assassination attempt had her shaken, Rhaenyra was still reluctant to attack King's Landing. As we saw in the last episode, Rhaenyra was still hoping she could avoid all this. She did not want to lose any more sons. Now, I'm not exactly sure how they will do this in the show, but here it says, Rhaenyra was still grief-stricken over the death of her son Lucerys. Therefore, she handed over command to the Sea Snake and his wife Rhaenys. Roughly 9 days after Lord Staunton sent his raven to Dragonstone asking for help, the sound of wings was heard across the sea, and the dragon Meleys was seen above Rook's Rest. We've also seen evidence of Rhaenys leaving Dragonstone as well as Meleys flying and fighting in the sky. Sir Criston Cole was not worried about the sight of her dragon. You see, Aegon's Hand knew this would happen. In fact, he was counting on it. That's when the drums beat out a command and archers rushed forward, filling the air with their arrows. Scorpions also filled the air, the same ones that had once taken down Meraxes in Dorne. Meleys suffered many hits, but the arrows only served to make her angry. The dragon swept down, shooting fire left and right. We will see knights burn in their saddles as the hair and hide and harness of their horses go up in flames. Men-at-arms will drop their weapons and scatter. Some of them hide behind their shields, but neither oak nor iron could withstand a dragon's fire. Sir Criston sat on his white horse, shouting, "Aim for the rider!" Through the smoke and flame, Meleys had smoke swirling from her nostrils, and that's when suddenly 2 other dragons emerged in the sky. Aegon was astride Sunfire the Golden, and his brother Aemond was on Vhagar. Sir Criston Cole's trap had worked. Rhaenys fell right for the bait. With that being said, she made no attempt to flee. With a glad cry and a crack of her whip, she sent Meleys after her foes. Against Vhagar alone she might have won, but against Vhagar and Sunfire together, her fate was sealed. The dragons met violently 1,000 feet above the field of battle, as balls of fire blossomed so bright that men swore later that the sky was full of suns. The jaws of Meleys closed around Sunfire's golden neck for a moment until Vhagar fell on them from above. All 3 dragons fell together as the ground rushed up to meet them. They hit the ground so hard that stones fell from the battlements of Rook's Rest, half a league away. Those who were near the dragons did not live to tell the tale. Those further off could not see for the flame and smoke. It was hours before the fires went out, but from those ashes, only Vhagar rose again. Meleys was dead, broken by the fall and ripped to shreds on the ground, and Sunfire, the gorgeous golden dragon, was missing one of its wings. Aegon had suffered broken ribs, a broken hip, and burns that covered half his body. The dragon flame had burned so hot that his armor had melted into his flesh. A body believed to be Rhaenys Targaryen was later found beside her dead dragon, but it was so blackened that no one could be sure. Beloved daughter of Lady Jocelyn Baratheon and Aemon Targaryen, faithful wife to Lord Corlys Velaryon, mother and grandmother, she lived fearlessly and died amidst blood and fire. Rhaenys was 55 years old. Over 800 knights and men lost their lives that day. At least 100 more died later when Aemond and Sir Criston Cole seized Rook's Rest and put the garrison to the sword. Lord Staunton's head was carried back to King's Landing and mounted above the old gate. But it was the head of the dragon Meleys, drawn through the city, that awed the small folk into silence. The Septons say thousands left King's Landing afterwards until Alicent finally ordered the gates shut and barred. Miraculously, Aegon did not die. However, he did suffer greatly because of how badly he was injured and burned. As I said at the beginning of this video, I believe this will be the main event of the season. This battle will be unlike anything we have ever seen in Game of Thrones or House of the Dragon. Now, we did see a dragon battle in Game of Thrones. However, it wasn't very watchable because we could barely see what happened. Now we'll see the three-headed dragon as Rhaenys, Aemond, and Aegon light up the sky. This is only the beginning of one of the bloodiest wars in Westerosi history. The fall of House Targaryen has begun. Let me know what you think about this next episode down below. What are you hoping to see? Make sure you subscribe because I will be making a lot of new videos every week. Once again, I have to thank all of you for watching this video. I hope all of you have a great day. I will see you again very soon. Bye.